children. I'm Chaplain Santucci, and thank you very much for joining us for the Grow, Eat, and Save the Food Movement presentation on gardening. Today I'd like to share with you just some simple ways of how you can take care of yourselves and take care of your families, and as you grow older, be able to take care even of a nation. But it all begins in a book. Believe it or not, friends, it begins in a book, a simple book of gardening. And so it's very important as we're here studying about gardening, we at least find good books that at least can help us with the context of what gardening is all about. But as you're learning about gardening, you also need to learn about trees. That's right, children. Trees are very, very important. And it's nice to know what type of trees to grow around your garden, because this is very important as well, to allow sunlight in and also to allow your garden to receive the nourishment which it so desperately needs. And then as we're learning about gardening, it's also important to learn about what is organic gardening versus gardening that is done in a more, I would say, traditional way today. But this is the way how they used to do it years ago, organically. And then as you learn about gardening, then are you gardening for outside or inside? Well, most gardeners, they like to at least plant their gardens outside, but some do plant their gardens inside in pots. And or they have special trellises or mechanisms of which they grow their food in. And then the garden. What to grow in the garden, it's very important as well. You can grow anything from passion fruit all the way to lettuce, tomatoes, and many more types of vegetables and fruit, which is good for you in the context of vitamins. And then how to grow your own garden. That's what we're going to share with you today, on how to grow your own garden. But before we get there are many more things you need to learn, and it's called the secret or garden secrets. Did you not know that there are certain secrets that you should know about gardening? Timing, for instance, when to put the seed in, also when to reap that crop, and even if you're using, let's say, some special type of manure or compost. All of these things are very important, but the timing is very important to get your garden up and running and moving in the right direction. Then what about bugs? Yes, every garden has to deal with bugs. And you want to know exactly how to deal with bugs as well, because bugs, they come along when you have a garden. And then how to get rid of bugs without destroying those vegetables is very important. So you see, children, that the library is very, very important to your growth and understanding of how to take care of yourselves and also take care of others. And as you grow in life, you want to at least learn through books how to best be able to do your job correctly. What about Bermuda, a place of which means so much to so many of us here? Did you not know that there is a garden book about gardens in Bermuda? That's right. This book here presents one of the best, I would say, description of timing and of things you need to grow within your garden here in Bermuda. And finally, some of the children listening today may be saying, Chaplain, what about the flowers? What about the flowers? Yes, we haven't forgotten you neither. Flowers are also important, and so you want to plant the right flowers around your garden. For instance, if you want to get rid of insects that are attacking those plants, then plant some marigolds. Or what about some zinnias? They are very, very, very good, and these are some of the best, I would say, flowers of which I plant around my garden. And then I use such things like parsley, and I use oregano, and I use other types of herbs to at least help to fight off those plants that at least attack the garden. So as we're talking about gardening, then we need tools, isn't it right? We need we need boots on. Don't forget, boys and girls, we need boots. And you must put on your boots. And then what about tools? You need such tools as which I have right here. This here fork here goes into the ground, just as I'm here digging. As you see here, and it goes directly into the ground. This is excellent for your garden. And then you have a spade here. This here they use for what is called going around, or an edger, making sure that your garden is neat. You want to have a neat garden. And then this is called a garden hoe. This is a special tool right here, which they use around the garden and to help to mold your plant. What about the fogs? Well, we have a fog coat, just like the fog itself, but this is called a fog coat. And this here helps to keep the garden clean, and it helps to protect it and keep it well. And finally, what about a tool that, let's say, that can go up and go down? If you're just down in the small areas, you can use it. If you're up in the long areas, you can use it as well. This here is a multitask tool here, and many of the children listening here may be saying, but Chaplain, I have something like this. This is also wonderful. But one thing about this tool here, notice here, it has some markings on it. Did you see those markings here? 10 centimeters, and it has here 5, and right here you have other numbers. This is 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches. And when you start planting, you want to plant your seeds somewhere around at least 1/4 of an inch, sometimes to 1/2 inch. So this is also very important when you use tools like this here. This helps you within your garden. This is the most important thing now, I would say, with gardening, and that is seeds. So children, this is what we call string beans. String beans here takes 36 days to grow. And you want to take time out to grow those string beans. Or what about carrots? Many people like carrots, do you? Well, carrots grow wonderful as well. And the carrots can be picked anywhere from 60 to 90 days of planting. And here's my old friend here called the zinnias. Beautiful plant, beautiful flowers here. What about tomatoes? One of us, we love to eat tomatoes. Tomatoes are good for you. And then what about cabbage? Cabbage is good. We want to eat cabbage because cabbage helps to make you strong. And don't forget now, Bermudas, they're known for, that's right, for onions. Onions are very important. Did you not know, children, that Bermuda introduced onions to America? That's right, it all began from here. And we used to do what was called exporting the onions from Bermuda to the United States of America. We had huge gardens back then, and people, they were involved, families were involved in planting their gardens. This was very, very important back in those days. And then we have what is called romaine lettuce. Now, I consider this here to be one of the best lettuces of which you can actually eat. More importantly, I would say it's even better than the iceberg lettuce. So we talked about here earlier about bell peppers. Some bell peppers are green, and some bell peppers are, that's right, they are yellow. What about kale? All children like to be strong, and don't forget, children, you must eat greens. Greens are very important, and so this is kale. This is called curly leaf kale. Curly leaf kale is very good and nourishing too for your body. What about pumpkins? Yes, pumpkins are very good as well, and this is called a sweet meat. It's actually a squash. It's from the pumpkin family, but remember now that almost all pumpkins and squash are related. Well, with that said, boys and girls, we're going to go into the garden, and we're going to use our hand trowel here, and we're going to come down here. Come walk with me. As you can see, boys and girls, this is the zinnias right here. But between here, we have other plants that are coming. They're coming, and it looks sort of this. But here, what we have here is romaine lettuce. And these romaine lettuce right here have been growing for a little while, and they are ready for transplanting. What is transplanting anyhow? Transplanting is taking a plant from one area that's growing and moving it into another area so it can grow much better. So what we're doing now is called transplanting. Repeat with me. Transplanting. What is it called? Transplanting. And we're taking one plant from one area and we're moving it out into another area so it can grow much better. Let's walk with me, children, as we go down to the garden, and we're going to walk directly to the garden here. As you can see, all of these zinnias right here, these are beautiful and help to protect the edge of the garden. And as I'm walking into the garden, notice what I'm doing. I'm walking over what is called seaweed. Hey, Elder, what do you use the seaweed for? Seaweed is fertilizer. And so from the beach, it all can't stay there. So we have to take some off the beach, which we clean the beach, and we put it into the garden, which becomes fertilizer. Walk with me through the garden. As you can see, boys and girls, we have some, come walk with me over here, boys and girls. As you can see, this is a romaine lettuce. Another one right here coming up. But we're going to put down some more romaine lettuce as we're here getting it ready. And we're putting it between here because, again, this helps to keep it nourished and helps to make it strong. So, this is how you transplant your vegetables. Notice here, boys and girls. Notice what I'm doing here. And I'm putting them in as I took them out just now. And notice how quickly then you take these here and you put it around it to protect it. And it's also allowing it to save its moisture. So the plant is saving its moisture without losing anything. And we're doing what is called transplanting. Notice what we're doing here, boys and girls. And we're putting the plants down. And you see how we're putting these plants down into the earth? Now notice all the plants that I'm putting down here, they're about 8 to 10 inches apart. They can be further, but because of the growth of these plants here, we want them to be able to produce a little bit faster. So this is why we're putting them down the way how we're doing it here. We put down the last one. Boys and girls, we have just done our transplanting. Now we're just about getting ready to finish up here. But before we do, I want to share with you some final tips. When you're planting in your garden, you want to make sure that your plants are set aside at a certain space. Broccoli must be spaced out at least 15 to 18 inches. And remember that when you're putting down sweet potatoes, as we have right here, in a space. Join us again next time when we shall share more with you of how to grow your garden. You've been tuning in with Chaplain Santucci with Grow, Eat and Save and with the Food Movement. Have a great day. Enjoy your gardening, all of you.